Hey everybody, welcome back to Vampire. So I know we ended outside of Dr. Swansea's office, but I had to, when I loaded in, I was actually outside in the garden again. It looks like all of the stuff from the recent conversation we had is still intact, and I remember talking to Hawkins. Where'd she go now? At the end of the last one. Is this her? Yeah. We didn't get a chance to confront her about
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
the
Good evening, Dr.
patients paying for beds. So I'm wondering if I didn't look close enough, or maybe it's not always something. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't always, I guess, unlock a dialogue option. It's it's just for information in here, as an example. So if we look at Pippa and her details, Pippa saves beds for patients who can pay. Pippa and Milton Hooks are a couple. So this helps us like make decisions about who we're going to feast on later. But at least at this point, we're not able to chat with her about it. So we'll see. All right, to Edgar.
Please, Jonathan, come in.
Typical. I'm just examining a skull. No big deal.
Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
Vertiginous. That's a good one.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire.
Yeah, I know. I see the irony.
A gift from heaven.
I don't know if this is a gift.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
Okay. I think we're gonna need each other.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Oh, of course.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
With what exactly?
Or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit.
Uh-huh.
Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Okay.
Accepted.
I didn't see anybody out there.
I'll see what kind of trouble
earlier.
Lady Ashbury is in.
We were talking to Milton. All right. Look at this guy. Ooh. 6,000 XP. It's very tempting. Warning letter. What's this? Dear Dr. Swansea, I must inform you of my deepest reservations concerning the Dr. Thoreau Strickland and Harvey Fiddick case. Mr. Fiddick has been hospitalized after a severe work injury. Okay, we learned about this guy when we talked to him. He may permanently lose the use of his arm if not treated adequately. Dr. Strickland claims that a surgical procedure may save the man's arm completely. I say it may also sever its functions for good if complications arise. Our young colleague is an audacious and daring surgeon who might prove a great professional in a few years, but for now he lacks the skills to perform such a risky procedure. Need to remind you of the mistakes he made in the past. Since Dr. Strickland refuses to listen to me, I strongly advise you to forbid him to perform such a hazardous experiment. So these two doctors, just like Strickland and Aykroyd, deciding on how to handle this patient. It's kind of interesting. Throw Strickland, new hint. Cool. Just take a look around the room. Rare species of vampires? As a scholar and exegete of ancestral writings, I would never insist enough about the importance of taking legends and ancient folklores into account when searching for hints about hidden or lost secrets. A common mistake is to take what we know for an established truth and use it to discard any contradictory material. For example, we must consider the possibility of undiscovered species of vampires, and the necessity to rethink what we see as the established truth about the various types of immortals based on what we know and what we gather through time. So we've talked about this a little bit, the different types of names, like skulls and econs or whatever. So this will be good. For how many centuries did we consider that vampire was the vernacular term for what we had learned to call an econ? Until the day 4 explorers of the Brotherhood found proof in Siberia that Volkods were a lupine type of vampire, we considered these creatures to be linked to the mythological werewolf. Now we know it's not true. What about the rest? What about the Rakshasa from my homeland? What about the Chinese Jiangxi or the Puchin of southern Chile? And without even leaving the beautiful Great Britain, and what about the stories about bat-shaped women sometimes seen flying around St. James Church in Louth? What about the creature only identified as a disaster in some obscure testimonies which tried to destroy London in 1666 by spreading plague all around the city? What about the Nimrod, the mythical figure of the restless vampire hunter, sometimes described by ancestral British econs as a legendary huntsman who only feeds on his prey's blood and can go unnoticed against the mortals and immortals? I tell you, my brothers, we can never be too sure of what we could find. If only we could forget for a few minutes what we're supposed to already know. From Unveiling the Light by Usher Talltree, Primate of St. Paul. That's the, like, brotherhood that the Doctor is a part of, right? Cool. Okay, so we'll go outside, we'll talk to the benefactor. And see what exactly is happening there. Here she is.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
Is that right?
You're a vamp. The lady who saved me that night. Before vanishing into thin air.
Oh, I didn't even recognize her face.
I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Okay.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
So... What's... Swansea fancies vampires?
So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is a remarkable man. Dedicated, one might say, obstinate? He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions.
Yeah.
On a rather urgent matter first.
Mostly about me, to be honest.
Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Makes so much more sense now because I didn't fully understand what had been compromised about her. I thought she was like some powerful political person, but nope.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
I mean, I have no reason not to believe her.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Yeah, see, this is the stuff I need to know, though, like...
Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood.
Yeah, you could say that.
But the questions need weight.
What?
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without cheating the culprit.
Okay, fine.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy.
Oh, of course.
I must refuse his most recent demands.
So... is this another vampire?
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
They should be totally afraid.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
And so why can't you handle this?
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Okay.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths.
Oh.
Due to massive blood loss.
You're feeding on them.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Well, yeah.
We both are afflicted with a thirst for blood, Lady Ashbury. That is our nature. By vocation, we also have reason to visit the hospital. Logic dictates.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion.
Okay.
It seems you're a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should
She's been
start?
feeding on these patients.
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
And it sounds like the doctor is working on these transfusions to
My
either
life,
cure.
as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved,
Great.
I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Yeah, damn right you will. So he's trying to, he is trying to either cure these, like this quote-unquote disease, this vampirism, or he's trying to, like, avoid feeding and handle it through blood transfusions, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so we're gonna need to talk to Harriet to get more information. On the way, I do believe that we learned some information about Milton. His reputation is mediocre among his colleagues. I don't know if that's something we can talk to him about.
If only there were more of us with less resignation.
These two we haven't talked to, but this might Oh, this is Tippets.
I wish
Perhaps
I
I
could say
should
the
consider
same
the
for the
offer
others.
from that
You
Cadigan
look
fellow.
exhausted. You're pushing yourself too hard. You don't have to bear the burdens of this hospital alone.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr.
Was
Tippett,
I giving
yes,
another-
I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
You got that right.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled
description.
period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Branagan is a pearl.
Yeah, we have not
She is
talked
the
to
most
her.
helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
And let me quickly check these when they pop up. So, Dr. Corcoran Tippett is convinced that Gwyneth Branagan is overqualified as a nurse. Look at his, where is he? His potential blood quality is pretty good. Is that bad that I'm like rating everybody on this? It's not looking good for Pippa right now. Let me tell you. It's not looking good for Pippa.
I'll go even further. If she was a man,
Overqualified according to Corcoran Tippett.
she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Oh, that's old school shit right there.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Yeah, he's like just wrapped up in it, hey?
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Well, I mean, didn't have much of a choice.
I can't say I'm thrilled to be working here, but to be honest, I didn't have much of a choice.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Yeah, well, which hospital in this situation wouldn't though, right? Okay, so is there anything else in here? Just hints. Hints.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this
Yeah,
hospital?
like Hawkins asking for
I
money.
have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
Seems like a good dude.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Seems like a good dude. Now, hold on. Here's Branagan. Let's chat with her.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse
News
Gwyneth
seems to
Branagan.
travel real quick around
Welcome
here.
to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Yeah, so I've heard. Let's see if she knows anything about
I'm not
the staff.
familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant
These
professionals.
guys love talking about each
Most
other.
of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about?
Say Hawkins.
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Okay.
Nurse Branagan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in
A
confidence.
little bit of like social
No.
engineering we gotta do.
I may disagree with some conduct, But in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Nice way of saying that, I guess.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
It's interesting that, like, the way some of these are said, he's exhausted himself and refuses to stop working. Like, these are things to think about when we're eventually going to consume somebody, right? And it's like they point out reasons as to why you should and reasons as to why you shouldn't. We recognize that this guy was somebody that we knew in the past and he's a good guy, but then he's getting old and, you know, overworking himself. Maybe it's time for him to go. Just saying.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Okay.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably
Do they
would
have, like,
left Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse,
Yeah, exactly.
does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
He did make the comment about, you know, if she was a man.
Have you heard rumors of anything underhand going on here at the hospital?
No, Doctor. Never.
Gwyneth?
Have you heard...
No, Doctor.
Come on.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Okay, so another thing to consider when we look at this, you can see, like, these guys are actually together. This is mother and son. This is Harvey, and then I guess the two doctors, Strickland and the other guy. These two, so it doesn't always mean that they're in, like, a relationship. It just means that they're connected somehow. Mother-daughter relationship. These guys seem like they're just working partners for now, but who knows? Is there something? Ah, right here. Oh, what's happening here? Is that this guy? Oh, it's Clay. Clay.
Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed. Still working at night, I see.
This is the guy that we found and
And why
reported and brought him
People
here.
who don't sleep at night always seem more alive to me. More interesting, one way or another.
Uh-huh.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. But as long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the staff?
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I
Oh,
see.
sorry.
Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
I mean,
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox.
let's check his health
I
here.
hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of sickness and decay. How could I get better in such a dump?
We could fix up his fatigue if we wanted.
I will see you later. Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in the hospital?
Blackmail? That's not my style.
Oh, weird that I say underhand
Too
dealings
risky.
and you skip straight to
Black
blackmail.
market, though. Now that's where the money is.
What about the man you pushed into the water?
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water.
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget it.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough.
Still fucking hurts.
Want to tell me what happened?
Boss had cut me good.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother.
Oh, you had
Poor
to.
arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favour.
Interesting. So, he murdered the brother of the man who tried to kill him. Then murdered that guy as well. Just saying. Looking like a pretty good candidate so far. Does he show up here? Actually, where does he show up? Oh, right here. Okay, so he's not connected to anybody. I feel bad, but Clay, until I learn more about you, you seem like the first one I'm taking down.
Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about?
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
Okay. The only other thing
This is just...
is the hospital
What's wrong
itself.
with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
Okay. We'll get back to you
leave
later.
For now, Mr. Cox.
We'll brew up one of those fatigue things if I think about it. We have actually a lot of XP to use. Tippett, Strickland. There's this other doctor that we should probably talk to. This dude here. Also, Milton.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Maybe he knows information, but I want to see. Hold on. His reputation is mediocre. And the person he's with charges people for beds. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. Ah, right here. Boom.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
There's two sides to every story.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised someone tried to make money from them.
What kind of secrets?
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed. If you want to know more, you better talk to Harriet Jones. She's the oldest patient here.
It's funny how everybody knows that
Goodbye,
Harriet Jones is like the gossip queen. It's actually kind of funny. All right, let's go talk to Harriet then.
Simpletons, these nurses. Bred with no respect.
Is that right, Harriet? You seem like a nice person. I can't imagine you not getting treated with respect that you deserve. Sappho. Oh, what's in here? Small bag of junk. Perfect.
What? What? What is this? Who are you?
Oh, you don't
Get
know
out
me?
of my room.
There's
Gossip
no
queen?
need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern.
Oh, I'm anything
Where's
but.
Dr. Swansea?
Should we just put her in her place?
If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood?
How brave. Threatening an
She
old
called us
defenseless
out.
woman.
Oh boy.
You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Jones. Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, Better than any patient nurse
What does she
or
have
doctor.
that's kept her here for so long?
I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
Those bitches.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little
Doesn't mean you're
bitches'
not capable.
greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off, they are.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Branagans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Jeez.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor.
Oh,
not
you don't have
mine.
proof. Okay, cool.
I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
Interesting. So it's frickin' one of the nurses. Hawkins or Crane. Hawkins, we already know that she's been cavorting around with the other guy. Let me just see if there's anything else here.
Well.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Why were you admitted?
If you could just tell me why you were admitted.
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up blood, and I get awfully tired. Wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't lost my house and all.
Ouch.
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know. Not even my own flesh and blood.
So again, it's like she kind of comes across as like cranky old wench, which, I mean, she is. But also she's totally alone, has no family. Good candidate for eating.
Have you noticed any suspicious comings or goings?
It would be a great deal easier to make a list of things unsuspicious in this house of charlatans.
Come now, Miss Jones. Surely it's not that bad.
Have you no eyes? This hospital accepts all manner of souls, regardless of origin. The proper sick cannot heal. We're kept sickened by the refugees.
Everyone here is very capable. I have not seen any instances of unprofessionalism.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have gone missing here, you know. Poof, without a trace.
It's the first we've heard of that. Well, actually, I mean, Lady Ashbury, I don't know if they were disappearing, but they were dying because she was draining them of blood, so.
I'll come and visit you shortly. Good night, Miss Jones.
Okay, so we will, we'll take a break here, and then when we return, we'll go and talk to these nurses again. Both of which we're starting to kind of get a further understanding of their backstory now. And Hawkins, I'm suspicious of. Crane, I don't know that well, but she was like the first nurse that we met. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes down. Maybe we'll be surprised, but we'll see. Wish me luck, guys. We'll see you soon, okay? Take care.